Hello, my fellow Americans. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Monday, May the 6th, the year 2013. Well, I went to that Mayberry School Board meeting about the drug testing in schools last Thursday night, I believe it was. So I've been pondering this for a few days before making the video. I'm happy to report that there was about a dozen or so parents in the audience, so that was good. And I'm also happy to report that I was not the only person that seemed to be opposed to this drug testing. There's a couple people who thought it was a good idea, but that's to be expected. You're not going to get everybody agreeing on everything all the time. It's just we have to figure out how we can live together, even though we disagree on how things should be handled. But there was a few things that bothered me about the meeting. One of the things that bothered me, they had a couple high school kids on the panel up there. And they've already seemed to be, what's the word? They seem to be educated to look to the government for solutions as opposed to look to themselves for solutions. Indoctrinated maybe is a better word. Brainwashed, that might be a little strong. But I was a little disappointed when they were trying to debate me on some of the issues, because I asked the question, am I the only person that sees the problem with this and it's a violation of our Fourth Amendment rights? And I kind of got blank stares, so I'm not sure if people were just afraid to talk or they didn't know what the Fourth Amendment is and what it means to them. But after I said my piece, it seemed like a few more people felt that I broke the ice, and they were vocal about their unwillingness just to go along with this drug testing program. That, it's going to need some revisions. And one of the things the panel said was, I guess there was some case, something Verona, I guess it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they said that they couldn't drug test the entire school population. So I guess that was one thing I thought was the next step, but I guess that's already been ruled against, so that's good to know. But the other problem, as I see it, is that they were calling things like participating in sports or other extracurricular activities, that they were privileges. And I have a problem when the government thinks that things that I earn or somebody else earns is a privilege. For example, they think that driving a car is a privilege. No, it's not a privilege. You have to earn it. In other words, you have to take a test, a written test, and a proficiency test, and a driving test. So if you pass that test, you meet the criteria. You earn the license. It's not a privilege. It's not like the king bestows upon you the privilege of driving without you doing anything. So they've got that wrong. The other part that is back to the main point about this drug program that I really have an issue with is they have program goals. Now, if you know anything about business or goal setting in particular, you know that a goal has to be something that you can measure. It's just simple. I remember I went through the quality program back when it was, in its heyday in the early 80s. Let me think. I think I went to, we talked about the Crosby. I think that was the Crosby one, even though I wanted the Deming one, but the company I was working for was buying in the Crosby. But it doesn't matter. A goal has to be something that's measurable. So if you say, for example, with the sales force, you need to make, on average, 10 calls per hour. That's something that can be measured at the end of the day. How many calls did you make? Either you hit the average or you didn't. Very simple. But you see, these program goals here at the Mayberry School District. Here's goal number 1. Help prevent use of illegal drugs by making it easier for students to say no. You can't measure that. It's not a goal. Goal 2. Help reduce use of illegal drugs by making it easier for students to say no. Once again, you can't measure it. It's not a goal. So they're 0 for 2. Number 3. Educate the students further in the effects and consequences of illegal drug use. Now, I guess you can measure this by you send them to class and you test them. And I guess what you do is that you give them the test on the first day of class, and then you give them the test maybe midway through the year or a third of the way through, and that way you can test to see if they're getting educated. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They're 1 for 3. Number 4, assist those students who might be using to stop. Now, is this measurable? Assist. How can you measure assist? I don't understand it. This is very vague. And a goal has to be specific and measurable. So I can't give them the benefit of the doubt here, so they're 1 for 4. Goal 5. By not allowing the student to participate while under the influence of illegal drugs, help protect the student from the health-related risk of drug use. Can you measure that? I don't think so. Section B, 5B, help protect the student from injury. Once again, not measurable. 5C, help protect team/activity members and competitors from injury. So, I guess, once again, you're saying by not allowing the student to participate while under the influence of illegal drugs. Well, let's back this up. Does that mean before every event, every practice, you're going to check each student to see if they're using a illegal drug? If not, then how can you help protect the students and the team members and competitors from injury? So you see, this one is vague, non-specific, so they're only batting 1 for 5 on the goals. And finally, goal 6. Promote the image of students who participate in extracurricular activities as role models and leaders in the eyes of other students and the community. How can you measure that? I mean, what do you promote the image? I mean, what's that mean? The mayor gives you a key to the city? Once again, this is not a goal. This is not something that can be measured. So they're basically 1 for 6. So you have to understand that these administrators, these school board elected officials, they're basically babies with hammers. They only know how to hit things. And so that's their tool, is the hammer. And in their case, it's more rules and regulations, just like Congress. And we all know that you can't regulate behavior. It doesn't work. Prohibition didn't work. It just doesn't work. All you can do is educate people as to the consequences of doing certain actions. Then it's up to them to decide whether or not they want to accept the consequences. Real simple. You know, I was at that meeting and I was holding back because I just thought it would be in my best interest too. But I wanted to say, if what you really want to do with this is you want to help the students and, you know, make so they're healthy, then why not focus on the 2 biggest causes of illness in this country. Tobacco and obesity. And the reason I didn't say it was because in the audience and on the council or committee or board, there's some obese, overweight people. I just thought I'd hold my tongue. I think it'd be better maybe as a letter to the editor. Because cancers from cigarettes, I mean, they've got the link. So that's a simple obesity. I mean, come on. I mean, some of these kids I see, they're twice the size of me and they're still in junior high school. I'm 5'10", 179 pounds, I think, today. And I still want to lose about 5 pounds. Get rid of some of this middle, that's all. But I work out pretty much 5 days a week. Do I eat the best? No. I don't drink too many sugary drinks. But that's the type of thing they need to focus on. Say, like, look, you just look at the student population and you can see the size of them. They're all supersized, or most of them are. I guess logically speaking, some of them are. When I remember going back to school, we had, you know, pretty much every class had the one fat kid, and that was it. Now, 60–70% of the kids are fat kids. It's just horrible, horrible. But back to the point of the main issue here is this, you know, the Mayberry School District, the random drug testing program. I talked to a couple of my buddies about it, and one of my friends said, you know, what you got to do is, what's probably behind it is some insurance company that doesn't want to, you know, pay some insurance claim if a kid was under the influence. And they talked about now if the kid wants to play football or basketball, they got to come up with $50 athletic participation fee or whatever it's called. But now they're going to tack on another $12.50, so it'll be $62.50, and this $12.50 goes to this company that does these drug tests. So I'm not sure if somebody on the board or on the committee has got some kind of, you know, scratch in the back arrangement here, but it seemed like this drug testing was going to this one specific company. So I'm not sure about that, but I don't like the way it smells. It just doesn't seem quite right. It really doesn't. So, and then they ask for questions at the end, that they ask for questions that should be asked to the general population. They're going to put it on their website. And I said, well, maybe instead of the school board deciding this, let's have a vote. Let's let the community vote. The taxpayers and voters of the Mayberry School District, I think, should have a say-so on something this big, this important. And let's just see what happens. Because I don't think that's an issue for the school board should be deciding. And as one lady pointed out, that, you know, the school board is now taking away her job as a parent. And the thing is, in a small town like Mayberry, everybody or most people know who the bad kids are, who's using, who's got the broken homes, etc., etc. It's not like, you know, if you sneeze, they'll be talking about it at the grocery store in 5 minutes. So anyway, that's enough on that. But here at the Mayberry School District, I'll have to let you know how this plays out in the future. But my fellow Americans, it doesn't matter if it's the feds, your state, or your local government. Wake up and smell the tyranny.